Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm glad that we have a student joining us today. This session is going to be recorded so we can make it available to a student that were not able to participate today in our meeting. So let me go ahead and get started, and I'm going to just share my screen. Is everyone able to see my screen? Jesse, can you see my screen? Okay, great. All right. So welcome. My name is Laura Rodriguez Amaya. I am the ISSS Assistant Director, and with me is Jessie Yang, ISSA Advisor as well. And we're here to talk to you about the Spring 2021 guidelines. And this is what our international students expected to comply with and answer some of the questions that you might have about registration, traveling during this time, and any other questions that you have in mind that we might not have answered before, or that are coming up as you're making plans for the spring semester. It's going to be a very casual conversation. So if you have any questions, please just use the chat to ask those questions, and we'll get to them as we go through the presentation. Okay, so if you want to share where you're joining us from, just let us know if you are in the US or if you are studying remotely from outside the US. What is your situation right now? And also let us know if you're planning on living in San Antonio in the spring, whether you are planning on staying on campus and coming back to campus, or you're gonna stay off campus, but is still planning to come into San Antonio. Then we can tailor our conversation a little bit more. Okay, great. So we have a student joining us from Pakistan and planning to come to San Antonio next semester. Great. I'm sure you have some questions about travel and documents that you need to get ready for that. We have a student joining us right now, and so just want to catch up everyone. We are just starting our conversation about the spring guidelines, and I'm asking the students to share with me where they're joining us from. If you're joining us from the US, or maybe you are right now back home, and also if you're planning on living in San Antonio in the spring semester. So if you want to use the chat to let us know, that will be great. That way I can tailor the presentation a little bit more to some of the particular questions that students have, depending on where they are in the world. All right, so let's keep going. So traveling during the winter break, some of our students are asking about travel during the winter break. And so if you are traveling, and it seems that at least one of our students is traveling this winter break, a couple of things to keep in mind. One is review your travel documents. If you have an I-20, make sure that the I-20 has the DSO signature, at least, you know, active for for the time that you come in, the DSO signature has a 1-year life. So if you need to renew that signature, let us know. Also, your visa, do you have an active visa? Are you going to need to renew your visa? Make sure that you review these documents with plenty of time so that if you need to update them, that you have time to do so. Also, something to keep in mind is if you're coming from outside the US, some of the airlines are asking passengers to take a PCR test. Some of them might ask you to have the results within the last 72 hours. Some of them have a much shorter time frame. So make sure that you check with the airlines to make sure that you are able to comply with those PCR requirements. If you are traveling abroad, if you are in the US and planning on going back home or traveling outside of the US and need a PCR test, you can contact the COVID Health Clinic at TU if you are in San Antonio and get that test done. And you see on the screen the phone number for the health clinic. So it's really important as you are planning on traveling this winter break or early in the spring to make sure that you keep up with not only your airline requirements, but also check frequently with your consular office website to see if any travel restrictions have been implemented for your country or the country you're traveling to. So let's take a look at the spring 2021 guidelines. And I want to be very clear and candid on this. The guidelines that we are presenting here today are based on the most recent guidelines from the federal government. And these are subject to change. So one of the things that we have been struggling a little bit with at ISSS is providing this information because no new information has been received from the US federal government in terms of the regulations that impact international students. So as of today, these are the guidelines that we can share with you and are going to be the same guidelines that you had to follow for the fall 2020 semester. And again, these guidelines might change tomorrow or in a couple of weeks. So it's gonna be very important for everyone to just keep up with this information. So registration requirements. You can enroll for the spring semester for 100% online. If you are going to be on campus, it is recommended, or in the San Antonio area, right? If you're gonna be locally living in the spring semester in San Antonio, whether on campus or off campus, it is recommended that you enroll for as many Tiger Flex or in-person courses that you can. That way, if the guidelines for the spring semester enrollment requirements for F1 students change in the spring, you are covered because most of your classes are in-person classes. During regular times, not during COVID-19 times, but during regular times, as you know, international students have to register for in-person courses, right? They have the opportunity to enroll for one online course most of the time, but most of your courses should be registered as an in-person course. That's during regular times, right? During COVID-19, to accommodate for the pandemic, the federal government allowed international students to register 100% online for online courses. However, right, if you are on campus or in San Antonio, do register for as many Tiger Flex or in-person courses that you can. New students started in the spring 2021. I'm planning to stay on campus. Must register for the International 1100 class. This is for F1 students. If you are under another visa time, this does not apply to you. If you are an exchange student, you are a US citizen, but you're coming from an institution outside of the US and you're gonna be an exchange student this semester, you're not required to take the International 1100 class. This is a course for international students under the F1 status. Remote learning in different time zones. I know that at least one of the students that is joining us had been studying remotely from back home. Are there any other students that are studying remotely from back home or are expecting to do so in the spring?
From the responses on our spring plan form, I think half of them plan to stay home and half of them plan to come, roughly.
Thank you, Jessie. And we will talk about the spring 2021 plan, but that is really good information for me as we're gonna make this recording available for our students. If you are joining us in the spring 2021 remotely and you are in a different time zone, please do contact your professors if you need accommodations. During the fall semester, we had many conversations with the students that were struggling with their courses that were studying remotely, and not just outside of the US, but also students in the US studying remotely and having connectivity issues. It made it very difficult for these students to be successful in these courses. So it's really important for you as a student to contact your professors and talk to them about your situation. Let them know that you are studying remotely, that maybe you are studying from back home where there's connectivity issues. Maybe you're not able to access T-Learn. Maybe you're not able to join synchronous learning, join their class, because that means that you're taking the class at 2 or 3 in the morning, or taking your exams at 2 or 3 in the morning. So it's important for you to reach out to your professors. The ISS office has been working with many different offices on campus to create resources for students, but also for faculty, to let them know what might be some of the struggles that our students are facing. At the beginning of the spring semester, and we're hoping that maybe at the end of December, we're gonna be sending out some resources to students on how to have these conversations with their faculty, how to start a conversation about asking your professor to maybe post their PowerPoint presentations ahead of time so that you have time to review them. Maybe your audio is not coming through really well, and some students have a hard time following the lecture. But if you have materials ahead of time, that might help you and increase also your participation because you had time to review that material. So there's several things that you might wanna talk to your professors about. And again, we're gonna be sending out through your email. So please do check your email, your Trinity email, and make sure that if you see one of our emails, please check them out. Sometimes we send resources to you. Sometimes we send important F1 regulation changes. So check those. But it is important for you to reach out to your professors. The sooner the better. Before classes start, reach out to them and ask them what might be the accommodations that they might feel comfortable in doing with you so that you can be successful in that course. If you need help to advocate for your needs, please contact our office. I will be more than glad to work with you on how to approach these conversations with your professors. We want you to be successful. We want you to have a good experience, even if it's from outside of our campus. So reach out to us through isss@trinity.edu. Some of you had questions about arriving in San Antonio. So for our new students arriving to San Antonio and also staying on campus, please fill out the Spring Plan 2021 that was sent to you. There's a question there about your travel plans and also when are you expecting to arrive. Also, if you're a current student, please do fill out that form. And Jesse can put in the chat the link to that form. But it is very important for us to receive that form for everyone that is coming to our community. We also strongly recommend that you visit the COVID-19 website for updated information. There's not a lot that have changed, but the website was updated on this December the 6th, just to include a few more details about the spring semester. If you cannot find the answer to your question in that website, you can always email nervecenter@trinity.edu. So if you have any specific questions about COVID-19 protocols or what happens in the case of something, sending an email to the nervecenter@trinity.edu will go to the team that works on these issues. Some of you have asked about arriving to campus or checking dates and COVID-19 testing. So for the students that are going to be living in the residence halls, the move-in day will be between Wednesday, January the 20th and Friday, January the 22nd. It all depends on your residence hall, right? So if you don't know which date you're supposed to move into your room, go ahead and email reslife@trinity.edu. You should have received an email with your room assignment, but if you haven't received that, please do reach out to them. Let them know that you are an international student doing your travel arrangements and you need to find out what your moving date is. Another common question is, do I have to quarantine before I get to campus? The answer is no. We are not asking students to quarantine before or after their arrival on campus. This is different from you're traveling from different countries, right? Some countries might have some travel restrictions where they're being asked to quarantine before entering into the US. But for our institution purpose, for Trinity's requirement, you're not required to quarantine before or after your arrival on campus. We do ask that you practice social distance protocols to keep our community safe. We want to be together in the spring and the rest of your journey at Trinity. And for that, we all have to do our due diligence in trying to maintain our community safe. So we do encourage the students to practice social distance protocols before arriving to campus. Once you arrive to campus, you will be tested for COVID-19 and the results will be given to students within a couple of days after your test appointment. If your test is positive, then the health clinic will let you know what the protocols are gonna be for you, and you will receive more information about assistance and quarantine and all the information that you need to keep safe and keep our community safe. But again, no need to be concerned about quarantine before or after if your test is negative. If when you arrive to San Antonio, you are exhibiting any symptoms or signs of COVID-19, or you believe that prior to your travel, you were in contact with someone that has tested positive for COVID-19, we ask that you let us know. Excuse me. We ask that you let us know. You can contact the COVID-19 health team and the phone number is right there. We ask that you don't come to campus. We understand that for international students, this might be a little tricky because probably your flight will get to campus the day that you need to move in. And if that is the case, just let us know, right? Let us know as soon as you can that this is a possibility, and the university will do everything that we can to accommodate to you. All right, it's better to have that information and be able to quickly adapt to the situation and provide you what you need, that if that information is provided later within the process of checking in. So I hope that you have already filled out the spring 2021 plan form. Jessie already posted it on our chat. The deadline is Friday, December the 11th. And we hope that by then we have a clear idea of where you are in your travel plans. And if you're gonna need an I-20, to get that to you as soon as possible. So this is all in an effort to get you the documents that you need in a timely fashion so that you can make your visa appointment, so that you can enter the country without any issues. So it's really important for us to get this information. So if you haven't done it, believe me, it will take you 3 minutes to complete the form. And if you don't know yet, but you have an idea of what you want to do, you can let us know that as of today, those are your plans, and so that we can keep that in mind as well. So who might need a new I-20? And I think that for this slide, Jessie, if you wanna share with us kind of updates, timelines of how long it takes for students to get their I-20s, go ahead.
Yes. So as you know, we have sent out the spring plan guideline to all students based on the current USCIS guideline. And there are several students in several categories need to have a new I-20 to enter the US. So first is the current students. When I say current students, they are students who started in fall 2019 semester or before. So these students have studied at Trinity before the COVID-19 happened, and they have an I-20 F1 status. For the students, the current students who are studying outside the US in fall 2020, they will need to receive a new I-20 from the DSO to enter the US. So if you see, say if you are a current student who studied virtually outside the US in fall 2020, and on your I-20 in the remarks section, there is a sentence says that outside the US due to COVID-19, then that's your old I-20. You must receive a new I-20 from the DSO, an updated one from DSO, so that you have a right I-20 to enter the US. And for the new students, we mean students started in fall 2020 or later. They are all considered new students. And for this group, for the new student who already started their semester with Trinity, they do not need the new I-20. But for the students who will start in spring 2021 semester, they must have an I-20 from the DSO. And I believe we have sent all of the new I-20s to the students who are planning to start in spring 2021 semester. So make sure the I-20 to use is the newest one we sent you. The newest one we sent you will have a date that is close to your semester start date. And also there will be a paragraph in the remarks section telling you and the port of entry officers about your status. The exact wording will not be the same, but it basically says you are starting at Trinity in spring 2021 semester, and your program start date is spring 2021. So make sure you use that I-20. For the students who took a gap semester in fall 2020 due to the pandemic issue, these students are considered withdrew from Trinity for a semester. So these students will need to get approved to come back in spring 2021. And once you are approved, the ISS's office will be notified, and we will send you a guidance email to help you obtain your I-20s and necessary documents. If you have not made the final decision yet, whether to come back or not, you will need to make it as soon as possible, because once you're approved to come back, we will need to first help you obtain your I-20. And this process may take a week in a normal time, but with the holiday season coming, some staff in offices will take some vacation time, and your email may not be responded in as soon as possible. So please, if you haven't made the decision, please make it as soon as possible and let us know. And if you have any questions about returning, your financial status, your I-20, your immigration status, just send an email to us, and we'll be happy to answer your questions regarding these issues. For all other students, especially the students who are planning to travel in winter break and coming back to the US, make sure your signature is within 1 year when you return. Say, for example, if your I-20 was signed in August, in December 2019, then it will expire in December 2020. If you come back in January 2021, you must have a new signature on your I-20. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if in summary, if you need the new I-20 you enter and you have not received the appropriate I-20, please make sure you do the right step. And if you have any question, let me know.
Thank you, Jessie. And that is so important to mention that we will go into the winter break, and the university will be closed for the holiday season. So it will be really important for students to let us know if they need that new I-20. And if your travel plans have changed, let us know this week, the latest, maybe early next week, so that we have plenty of time to issue your new I-20 and for you to receive it before the holiday break. So if, like Jessie said, we have issued most of the I-20s that the students need. If you need an I-20 and you have not received the I-20, do send us an email at isss@trinity.edu to make sure that we have the correct information so we can issue that form for you. I will strongly recommend that you send your questions to isss@trinity.edu. That's the email that each of us check regularly for student cases. Is the best email to use for your F1 status questions, for documents that you need, because it's the email that we look for those time-sensitive cases and issues. So please do use that email. Okay, so again, please use the chat if you have any questions about what we are sharing with you. Use the chat and we'll answer them as they come in or at the end of the presentation as well. If you have questions that are beyond what we're presenting today, go ahead and ask those as well. We will be more than happy to answer those questions for you. So some of you are planning on traveling and re-entering the US, whether you were here and went back home for the winter break, or you're ready to come back to campus in the spring semester. We would like to share a couple of ways that you can get in contact with us if you have issues at the port of entry. The main phone number that we want to share with you is the one that you see there in your screen. That is the emergency number. That's the emergency number that we have with us. Is the best number to call during the winter break when our offices are closed. We have a Skype account. That's if you have issues with the emergency phone number, but the emergency phone number, that 210-414-1858, that's the number that you should call if you have problems at the port of entry. We hope that you don't, but sometimes we see this occasionally happening. So this is the phone number that you should call. An email might not be seen right away. Our phone numbers in our office, we might not be there. We're working remotely, so we'll get notifications, but this is the number that you can call.
One quick information. If you cannot use the above two methods, you can add the ISS's WhatsApp, and our WhatsApp account is our emergency phone number, 210-414-1858. If you have trouble calling because you're outside the US, you can add our WhatsApp account and use the WhatsApp to call. And I believe it is different from a landline. You can call it via internet. So,
thank you, Jessie. So here are some of our social media we use this to communicate with you and your families just in time information. If there are quick changes, email is the mode that we would use to explore in more detail information about changes in immigration requirements or guidelines for the spring semester. So keep that in mind. But we use our Facebook page and our Instagram to also share with you events that are coming up, or just let you know that the form has to be filled out. So do join our social media to keep informed of what is happening. Throughout the fall, Jessie had virtual office hours, and these are office hours where you can just come in if you have a quick question, if you need something that we can help you with, that it will take more than just an email. These are the days and times where she's available, and I believe she's, Jessie, do you still have time, virtual office hours for next week? I cannot remember.
I can still have the virtual office hour next week. Don't worry. Next week will be our last week of the office hours.
Yes. So this week or next week, if you have any questions and you need a quick answer, those are the dates and times. If that doesn't work for you, setting up a Zoom appointment is also possible. Just send Jessie at isss@trinity.edu a quick email that you would like to have a Zoom meeting, and she will be more than happy to do that for you. But again, remember, this week or next week, after that, we have our winter break at Trinity. All right, well, that is the end of our information that we wanted to share with you. I know that we had a student that came in as we are finalizing, but we are open to any questions. If there's something that you have in mind that was not answered, or any other questions that you might have about the spring semester, this is the time to ask. You can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Any questions? Okay, well, just remember that you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. I want to remind you that the guidelines that we have shared with you today are the guidelines as of today. They continue to be the same guidelines as in the fall 2020. However, these are subject to change. So keep up with your email. We will send you updates as they come in. But as of right now, this is the information that we have to share with you. Thank you for joining us. And for those that are going to be watching this recording, if after you watch this video, you still have questions about the topics that we cover or anything else about getting ready for the spring, do not hesitate to contact our office. Until we see each other, stay well and stay safe.